ready for another edition of Warpaint TV? Brought to you by Cotman Transmission, Olathe, Kansas, 913-768-1555.
Are you ready for some real football?
Welcome back to Warpaint TV, April 12, 2011. Once again, I'm Shane Williams here with Chiefs Insider Nick Athan, and we're back here on TV today. The only reason we haven't been on TV, Nick, is because we didn't want to talk lockout.
Right.
So in turn of locking out the players, I locked out my razor, and now we're breaking out of the hibernation. We're here to tell the viewers what's going on in Chiefs world. How you been, and what do you think everything that's going on, buddy?
Well, I've been good. You know, I think we all needed to recharge our batteries a little bit after last season and all the turmoil in the off season. And you know, with free agency, it never started. You know, it's just like, you know, you need that kickstart. You need that thing to get you going in early March to really get you going. And March is, you know, free agency, and April's the draft. Hey, the draft is going to happen either way. We don't know if players are going to show up in New York, whether they're going to show up in their homes, or going to be with their agents' families. We don't really know how it's all going to work out. But the good news is the Chiefs are in preparation for the draft, and they certainly have a lot of needs and a lot of issues they have to deal with. But it's still, you know, there's still a damper on everything. You know, you'd hope that the two sides could figure out how to, you know, split $9 billion, and I think by the time we reach 2014-15, the revenues are going to be $12 to $15 billion. So they need to get this thing worked out. I think the next 10 days are really critical. I think you need 3 or 4 days before the NFL draft to have free agency, so teams can really evaluate what they're going to need, you know, in the draft. Because right now teams are saying, okay, I want to go maybe defensive tackle like the Chiefs need, or maybe they go after Phil Taylor at Baylor, or maybe they look at the linebacker position. Justin Houston, is Tom Bahali going to stay? Are they going to be able to get another linebacker? I mean, Mike Vrabel looks like he's out. Andy Studebaker is going to move in the starting lineup. So, I mean, they've got these things, but the normal way in which they develop their draft, it's kind of skewed. I mean, and general managers and coaches, you know, aren't real happy right now either. I mean, they're kind of the forgotten people in this thing. They're affected too because their jobs and their reputations are on the line, and their ability to acquire talent, coach talent, and get them to win games, and that's not happening right now. So, you know, what we may see if there continues to be a lockout is, you know, the Chiefs may have to make some decisions as other NFL teams, and they're just going to have to pick players. It's not going to be trades, because you can't trade player for player. Now, you can trade picks and move positions, but a lot of players get moved, you know, in order for teams to acquire a first pick or second pick or maybe part of a trade to get multiple picks. Those are all out the window. So, but then again, we do have the draft to look forward to, and it is going to be interesting to see the course the Chiefs take.
You know, a lot of Chiefs fans and, you know, NFL fans worldwide are upset about the lockout. You know, they don't know who to blame, who's at fault. You know, when you yourself take a look at what's going on, you look at what the players want and what the owners are willing to give. Who do you side with, and what do you think about the whole ordeal?
Well, I'm not going to make too many fans here. I'm on the owner's side. I've said this from day one. I think that I don't think it's all as gloom and doom as the owners are portraying to the players. I mean, yeah, they're losing money. And if you look in the stands, there are less people there. We've said this countless times. You know, you don't have to be a brain surgeon. You don't have to be an accountant. You can look at the stands and say, you know, club-level seats, there's no one there. There's upper deck seats. There's lower-level seats that aren't there. An hour or 5 minutes before kickoff, you can get good seats still at any game across the country. You look at the Chiefs in the playoffs. They were the only team that didn't actually physically sell out the stadium. Technically, it was a sellout, but there were empty seats. You know, but the players on the other side, you know, they want to know the books. They want to see the numbers. Hey, what Clark Hunt makes is his business. You know, what Daniel Snyder makes is his business. The profitability of an NFL franchise, it's expensive to operate a team. If the players want to share in that expense, yeah, I'll throw them all the books. They can see everything they want to. But they don't have that right. They're employees. They are basically on a year-to-year contract labor basis. They're paid with roster bonuses, signing bonuses, annual salaries. They make a lot of money. Some guys are worth it, some guys aren't. But the bottom line is this. The owners have the right to operate and run their business. The players have to decide if they really want to be partners, then are they willing to share in the expense and the losses of what has to happen to operate an NFL franchise? Yeah. Are the books cooked? Absolutely. There's no question some of it is. Do the players need to get more information? Absolutely. But, come 0 hour 3 weeks ago, the owners basically offered the players a deal that was about 1 to 2% different than what it was right now, and the players turned it down because they had no intent of wanting to get a deal done. They want this to go through the courts, and that's where we sit.
We'll be right back after a brief message from our good friends at Cotman Transmission.
My experience at Cotman was phenomenal.
They worked on my car while I waited. I was in and out in less maybe like 30 minutes.
When you're dealing with your car, you drive it every day. You need someone that you can trust to work on it.
It's a good experience.
I'm a Cotman customer for life.
I trust Cotman.
He's my Cotman man, and he keeps me rolling along.
All right, Nick, let's talk some football now. Tom Bahali had a Pro Bowl season. He had a career high 15 sacks. His sack of Joe Flacco in the postseason game against Baltimore really gave the Chiefs a chance to take the game over in the first half, in which they did. They scored 2 plays later on the 42-yard run by Jamal Charles. But, talk about Tom Bahali. What's his expectation, from not only Scott Pioli, but from the team and going into the 2011 season?
Well, Scott Pioli had tried mid-year once they got Derek Johnson's contract in place and Jamal Charles' contract in place. There had been discussions with his agent. Clearly, the Chiefs would like to keep him, but Tom Bahali's in a very unique position. He's kind of where Jared Allen was a few years ago, one of the best, sack masters in the National Football League, certainly the best on the team. And you look at the deficiencies this team has in sacking the quarterback from all the other players on the roster. What he did was pretty remarkable. And you had some guys step up. Wallace Gilbert stepped up and had a nice. Andy Studebaker, at times was able to. DeMario Williams. I mean, they had Derek Johnson, Eric Berry. They had guys who could get to the quarterback, but no one as skilled as Tom Bahali, and he knows that. And, he's looking for that $65 to $75 million contract like Jared Allen got. And to me, I think he's got a great motor, which we've talked about in the past. I think that he's a perfect fit for Romeo Crennel's defense. But, he's not very good against the run, and you have to be if you're going to be an outside linebacker in a 3-4, you got to be able to sack the quarterback, but you've got to be able to stop the run. And he's very weak in that. And sometimes, he gets manhandled by tackles because he is still undersized. Even though I think he's done a remarkable job in the last 2 years taking the leap from defensive end to outside linebacker. I've been impressed. There's no question. But do you pay the guy $75 million, or do you take your chances in the draft? Do you hope Alden Smith falls down? It kind of be a guy who could be very similar. Justin Houston from Georgia, we talked about, maybe a guy who slips down there too that they could go after. But there's a lot of talk about Akeem Ayers, which I think would be a total bust. So I hope the Chiefs don't go that route. I don't like his all-around game. But I think it's going to be very difficult for Scott Pioli to offer up that kind of money for a guy that, has he peaked? Is this the best he's going to be? This team's always going to be a sack-by-committee team. And for my money, if it's a $50, $55 million deal, maybe 60 tops, I sign him. But if he wants that 70 to 75 million, I'm not sure I pay that money.
Another topic has been Larry Fitzgerald. He's been unhappy with everything going on in Arizona. The favorite thing to talk about is, we talked about it even before last November with, wow, that'd be awesome to reunite him with Todd Haley.
Right.
But there's a talk of, if you're going to bring Larry Fitzgerald to the Chiefs, you can't have Dwayne Bowe because of the fact that Dwayne Bowe is going to see Larry Fitzgerald get his money because he's going to be paid the top dollar. Dwayne Bowe is going to be a free agent after next year,
Right.
so then you'd want the same thing. So you would have to trade Dwayne Bowe to acquire a talent like Larry Fitzgerald. Or what do you think about that possibility?
I've certainly heard that rumor too. And if the talks with the Cardinals evolve, when I think they will, once, again, waiting on this collective bargaining agreement to get done, but I don't think there's any question Larry Fitzgerald wants to be a Chief. He loves Todd Haley. He likes Dwayne Bowe. They worked out together. And probably because of Larry Fitzgerald, Dwayne Bowe had the kind of year that he had after what was a pretty turbulent offseason for Dwayne Bowe a year ago. And, yeah, Dwayne had his lapses, but at one point he was the best receiver in the National Football League last year for 7, 8, 9 weeks. So that was no fluke. Dwayne worked really hard. I think you need 2 solid wide receivers to be successful in the National Football League. If you're going to have an offense that dominates, especially when you have a Jamal Charles, you got a young tight end, Tony Moeaki, you got an unknown in Dexter McCluster for me right now. I still don't know what kind of receiver he's going to be, or running back, or whatever. He's a return man. But Fitzgerald wants to be a Chiefs. Now, 2 questions. 1, do the Chiefs give up a first-round pick? Yes, I do it. If it's a third-round pick plus Dwayne Bowe, maybe they make that move too. I don't really know. I know we've taken a lot of heat on the boards and saying, why would the Chiefs trade Dwayne Bowe? You made a good point. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. He's going to want a new contract. Does he show up in training camp like he did a year ago, motivated, focused, and he got a lot of support from Charlie Weiss, who isn't going to be there. I don't think people really understand the impact that Charlie Weiss had on Dwayne Bowe. All during training camp last year, we kept saying, the quarterback would make a bad throw, Dwayne Bowe would drop a pass, or it was too high. He goes, no, that's not on you. That's on the quarterback. He's never had that kind of support. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this year with Charlie Weiss gone. If he and Todd Haley can have the kind of relationship that Bowe had with Weiss remains to be seen. But you got to have two wide receivers. I'm not sold on Dexter McCluster yet. I still think he's a work in progress. I mean, a lot of comparisons to Wes Welker. He's not a Wes Welker type of player yet. He's got a long way to go. Doesn't mean he can't get there. Doesn't mean I'm not high on him, because the kid's got a world of talent. But he's either a wide receiver or he's a running back, or he's a running back or he's a wide receiver. You got to make a decision, and that's what they have to do. But they can't make that decision until they get someone to play opposite Bowe. And if they do trade Bowe and they get Fitzgerald, they still need another wide receiver. So if there's a way they can keep them both, I think that would benefit the Chiefs. And if Bowe has the kind of year that we think he can have for 2 years in a row, that must be our hotline there on the phone there that's ringing. But if that's the case, then the Chiefs are in a really good spot.
You heard it here first from Chiefs Insider Nick Athen. Once again, I'm Shane Williams with Warpaint TV. We'll be talking about the draft here coming up real soon, April 28th on a Thursday. Nick, it's been a great time. Glad we came out of hibernation.
Hey, it's been fun. Sorry we did take a little time off, but again, like I said, we all need to recharge our batteries. We can focus on the draft. Next week, we'll talk about who I think the Chiefs are going to pick in the first round, second round, and the third round.
Until next time, keep it right here at Warpaint Illustrated.
Don't miss another edition of Warpaint Illustrated, the magazine. To get your subscription today, call 888-979-0979. That's 888-979-0979, or check out warpaintillustrated.com.